Discovered my wife cheating through our new TV. She lost her job for leaking information and is now under investigation. So, a bit of background about us. We've been married for 22 years and have a 19-year-old son. Like any long-term relationship, we've had our share of arguments and disagreements, but nothing major, just typical bumps in the road that we managed to get through. Honestly, I thought our marriage was great. We had solid communication, mutual attraction, and a satisfying sex life. We both love the outdoors, and we're always out doing stuff like hiking, camping, or going for long walks. We've always taken care of our health because we talked about growing old together and wanted to stay active even when we were old and gray. I work as a paramedic, and recently, over the past 9 months, my work schedule got pretty chaotic. I ended up working mostly night shifts and picking up a lot of extra hours. My wife works as a litigation consultant and moved to working from home about a year ago. Not by choice, though. Her firm shifted to this liquid talent model where everyone works from home. She was really against it at first, saying it would be hard to build relationships and trust without face-to-face interactions. How ironic, right? Keep that in mind for later. Anyway, my night shifts made things a bit distant between us since our schedules didn't match up well. She'd be working at home while I was sleeping, and when I was getting ready for work, she'd be winding down for the night. But when we did have time off together, everything seemed fine. We were close, playful, and had fun. I didn't notice any red flags or anything unusual. Our marriage felt stable. She'd talk to me about her week, send me texts during the day, saying she missed me or sharing something funny she saw. She even made me meals for when I woke up and packed my lunches. So, recently, my brother came over to help me set up a Chromecast I won in a contest at work. It was a random day off for me, and my brother was in town from his shift work, so I asked him to help out. We were having a blast, taking turns connecting our phones to the TV, watching videos, and listening to music, just goofing around. My wife came out of her office after she finished work and asked what we were doing. I told her my brother was helping me with the Chromecast setup. I even asked if she wanted my brother to help her download the app on her phone so she could use it too. She hesitated, looked at the TV, then back at me, and finally agreed, but seemed like she was texting someone or going through her phone right before handing it to my brother. I didn't think much of it at the time. My brother started connecting her phone, and she asked how long it would take. He said maybe 2 minutes, and she said she'd quickly go to the washroom. Before leaving, she asked if he was just downloading an app, and he said yeah. So she left, and my brother and I were sitting on the couch, having drinks, not really paying attention. Not even 10 seconds after he connected her phone to the TV, he opened her messages as a joke. There was a contact with just a heart emoji as the name. He started laughing, thinking he'd find something funny between the two of us. I joked back, saying viewer discretion was advised. As he scrolled through, he saw some pretty racy messages and started calling me cheeky and a dirty dog, thinking it was between my wife and me. But as I looked closer, I realized it wasn't. She was messaging someone named Craig, and at one point, there were some explicit pictures exchanged. Let's just say the male anatomy in those pics definitely wasn't mine. My brother noticed my reaction, slowed down, and started reading more carefully. My stomach dropped, and my brother stopped laughing. One of the texts mentioned a certain body part of Craig's being in my wife's mouth. My brother quickly handed me the phone, said he had to leave, and took off. I didn't blame him. I was in shock. I quickly filmed what I saw on the screen, then heard the toilet flush, exited the messages, and dropped the phone on the couch. I ran out to the porch to make it look like I'd been sitting out there the whole time. After about 5 minutes, my wife came out and asked how long I'd been outside. I told her my brother and I came out as soon as she left the living room. She seemed relieved and acted like nothing happened before sitting down next to me. I got up to pretend to grab another beer and noticed she'd disconnected her phone from the TV, leaving a black screen. This was eating me alive. I had to go on a quick run to clear my head and blow off some steam. I also started thinking of ways to get back on her phone to send those messages to myself and see just how deep this went. For some reason, I just had to know more. So later that night, I came up with this totally lame excuse about needing to re-download an app on our phones because something had gone wrong with the Chromecast. Honestly, she's not really into tech stuff at all and usually relies on me for anything tech-related around the house. Whether it's the internet, the TV, or our phones, she thinks I'm a tech wizard. She even makes me download coupon apps and little games on her phone. So I figured if I told her I needed to re-download something, she'd probably believe me and hand over her phone. That night, I'm pretending to mess around with the TV while she gets ready for a bath. Just as she's getting into the tub, I go in and say, "Oh, I need to re-download this app on our phones because I accidentally unplugged something and messed everything up." She looks a bit worried and says, "Do I really need to be connected to it?" I assure her, "It'll take like 2 minutes, super easy. Then you'll have it on your phone and we won't have to worry about it later." She offers to get out of the bath to help, but I insist, "No, no, you've had a long day, just relax. I'll handle it, it'll be quick." She reluctantly hands over her phone, but looks concerned and tells me to be careful with her confidential client information on there. I kind of push back, wondering why she's having client conversations on her personal phone when she has a setup on her computer for work stuff. She explains that her laptop system was down for a bit, so she had to use her cell. At this point, I'm just like, "Yeah, whatever," and tell her no worries, I'm just downloading the app and reconnecting it. She then asks if I should call my brother for help and whether I'm capable of doing this myself, which really rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like a jab, as if she was saying I couldn't handle it. I told her if I had any problems, I'd call him, and then I left the bathroom. Up until this moment, we've never snooped on each other's phones. We know each other's passwords, but I never felt the need to check what she was up to. I always trusted her completely. Sure, since she's been working from home, she's been a bit more protective of her phone, but I figured it was just work stress, or maybe she was playing games to unwind. Little did I know, she was decompressing with someone else, right under my nose while I was working hard or sleeping. I had no clue anything was going on, and I felt like a fool for not seeing it. I worked fast and managed to go through her messages, discovering that she'd been chatting with this guy named Craig since last May, over a year ago. I screen recorded what I could and sent it to myself via email before deleting it from her phone. Meanwhile, she's yelling from the bathroom, asking if everything's okay, because I've gone over the 5-minute mark. I tried to play it cool, saying I had a problem with my phone, and she asked me to bring her phone back. I returned her phone, told her I figured it out, and walked back to the living room. From there, I went through the video, reading months' worth of filthy messages. My son doesn't live with us anymore. He's downtown with his buddies. I thought my wife was alone in the evenings while I worked. Nope, Craig would come over, and they'd have their fun while I was at work. He even sneaked in while I was asleep in bed. It was so rough to read. I found out Craig's last name from his Instagram because she follows him there. They send each other sexy memes, lingerie ads, and whatnot. I looked up Craig and quickly found out he's an attorney at one of the firms my wife does work for. He started there in March of last year. He looked pretty young, maybe in his late 30s or early 40s. I was livid. I went back to the screen recording and reviewed it slowly. It looked like she broke the news to Craig that she'd be working from home around the same time she told me. She was upset about not seeing him during the week, but things quickly escalated. He suggested they catch up over drinks, and soon after, she invited him over for lunch while I was working nights. She told him they'd have to be quiet because I'd be sleeping. Reading this made me sick to my stomach, so here I am, a few days post-discovery, trying to figure out my next move. I just wanted to write this out and see if anyone has any good advice. I really don't want to get screwed over in this. My wife works for law firms and knows people who can really take everything from me. I have to be careful with my next steps. This whole situation has me messed up. Update. I met with a lawyer. First off, thanks to everyone who reached out with advice and tough love. I needed to hear it all. I also called my brother and filled him in on everything. He's been a great support through all of this, and even reminded me of a few important details. So, there were these friends we made through my soon-to-be ex, STBX, wife's work. It's actually this husband and wife duo who run their own firm. My STBX did some consulting for them a while back. We used to be pretty close with them. They'd come over for dinner every now and then, and we'd go out to eat together a couple of times. Even hit up a Christmas party or two together. But after her contract with their firm ended about a year ago, we kind of lost touch with them. My brother suggested I reach out to them and just be upfront about everything that was happening. He said if my STBX was good enough to work with them, then they must be pretty decent people. He was spot on. So I contacted the husband and explained the whole situation. But I asked him to keep it between us because I wasn't sure how close my STBX still was with the wife. Didn't want any surprises, you know? He got back to me super quick and laid out some solid advice. He told me to send him the video of the text thread between her and this guy Craig, along with copies of our financial documents and account statements. He advised me to open up separate bank accounts and start moving money into them bit by bit from our joint accounts, but to do it gradually so it wouldn't look suspicious. He also pointed out that since our son is 19 and living on his own, custody isn't an issue. He mentioned that once the divorce papers are served, we'd have to figure out living arrangements. I told him I wanted to keep the house, and he said just to avoid discussing divorce details or bad-mouthing my STBX. So, fast forward a bit, the divorce papers get served. I told my STBX that I wasn't leaving the house, and she had to go. She argued that the house was basically her office, but I wasn't having it. I reminded her she wasn't working half the time and was instead inviting Craig over while I was in the next room. She tried to threaten me, saying I didn't know what I was getting into, but I knew she was just scared because she recognized who my lawyer was. I also told her she needed to break the news to our son and be honest with him, or I would show him the messages between her and Craig. She eventually packed up and moved out after our son, who sided with me, encouraged her to leave. He's been amazing throughout all this, checking in on me almost every day, and we're spending more time together, which is great. Here's where it gets interesting. I didn't know at first, but my attorney is one of the top family law attorneys in the country. My STBX figured this out and tried to apologize and walk back everything, but I told her it was too late. She and Craig even offered to pay me to keep quiet, because it could ruin their careers, but I wasn't interested. My lawyer also filled me in on something else. While my STBX was working for him, she started flirting with a partner at the firm and leaking information. They found out and terminated her contract, but they did it discreetly. When her consulting firm got wind of this, they were definitely not okay with it. They basically put her on house arrest, making her work from home. So, all this time, she'd been lying to me, saying her firm went through some changes and her contract ended naturally. We eventually settled the divorce. She gave me a big lump sum instead of dragging out alimony payments, which I used to pay off the house and have a bit left over. The house is officially mine now, thank goodness. She kept trying to reconcile until the very end, but it got too weird, so I had to move all communication through our attorneys. Turns out she lost her contract with the firm too, and now she's under investigation. Rumor has it she's been helping attorneys in ways that breach client privilege. Folks started noticing some fishy stuff with case details and handling of confidential information. There were even recorded conversations and unauthorized emails getting shared. So, things unraveled pretty dramatically for her. So, let me tell you about this wild ride. There was this woman who apparently knew a bunch of stuff she shouldn't have and spilled all the juicy details to the attorneys to help their case. Now, because of that, there's this whole formal investigation going on by the State Bar Association for breaching attorney-client privilege and other shady stuff. And guess what? That's not even the craziest part. The news spread like wildfire through the legal community, kicking off all sorts of rumors about different practices and shady dealings. Honestly, it's a giant mess, but I can't help but laugh because she totally did it to herself. Meanwhile, I've distanced myself from the drama, enjoying life with my house and my fantastic son, the best son a father could ever ask for. Now let's move on to the next story. All right, story number 2. My daughter cut me off for 17 whole years after I had an affair. Recently, she called to reconnect, but I turned her down. Now I've apologized, and she's planning to visit with my grandkid before I move overseas. Here's the backstory. I'm in my 60s now. I was married, and we had a daughter. Even though our marriage had its ups and downs, I was super close with our daughter. But during one of our low points, I made a huge mistake. An affair with a coworker. She was stuck in this violent, physically abusive relationship at home. We became friends at work, and things just kind of escalated from there. I helped her out, gave her the support she needed to file for divorce, and her husband ended up in jail. Although the affair didn't last, and we called it off, I was glad she got out of her abusive marriage and was safe. But when my wife found out about the affair, all hell broke loose. She said some awful things about me to our daughter, who was 15 at the time. I admitted it was all my fault, but after the divorce, I could feel my daughter pulling away. Then one day, she told me straight up she was done and was cutting me off for good. It was the most painful thing anyone had ever said to me. I begged her to reconsider, but she kept her word. After a year of trying to reconnect, I gave up. I heard from mutual friends that my ex-wife remarried a great guy. and I thought maybe this would help her let go of the anger and encourage our daughter to talk to me, but it didn't happen. I moved states a year later, and though I've made peace with it, there's still some lingering sadness. I've retired now, my parents have both passed away, and my brother sadly died a couple of years ago. Honestly, I'm just waiting for my turn. It's just me, my dog, and my sister now. Then, out of the blue, my daughter called me a few hours ago. After 17 years. I recognized her voice instantly, but I felt nothing. No happiness, no sadness, just indifference. She was crying a lot, and we chatted about our lives. She's married with a 12-year-old daughter who really wanted to meet her granddad. My daughter apologized for cutting me off and said her mom felt guilty about everything and urged her to reconnect. Even after listening to all of this, I felt nothing. I told her I didn't care about her or her daughter and to never contact me again, then hung up. That's when commenters started weighing in. They pointed out that my daughter was just a teenager going through a tough time when I gave up on her and moved away. They said I had shown her she wasn't important enough to fight for, and now, as an adult reaching out, I had rejected her again, which only proved her initial decision right. One commenter even suggested I'd been waiting 17 years for this moment to hurt her back. Another pointed out the narcissistic tendency to play the victim in a situation I had created for myself. Now here's the update. I was extremely drunk last night, and the words that came out of my mouth weren't great. After seeing all the comments calling me out, I decided to call my daughter again. I didn't expect her to pick up, but she did, right away. I apologized for last night, and she told me there was no need to apologize. I sent her a link to my Reddit post and admitted I was the asshole because thousands of people said so. She started crying again, and I told her she's welcome at my house anytime in the next 4 months, before I leave the country with my sister and our dog. Our parents left us a nice farmhouse, and we're planning to spend the rest of our lives there. I sent her my address, and she said she'd come with her husband and daughter by the end of next week. She asked if they could stay for a few days, and I assured her they could stay as long as they wanted. Our house is spacious enough. One commenter replied to my update saying, "Good man, I hope things work out." And honestly, I hope they do too. Hey, don't be too hard on yourself. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at us, and sometimes things are just out of our control. I'm really happy to hear that you and your daughter have reconnected and patched things up. That's such great news. I genuinely hope everything works out wonderfully for you too. Remember, it's totally normal to feel like you're not always at your best. Life can be tough, and we all make decisions driven by emotions from time to time. Take care of yourself and stay positive.